everybody, so today I'm going to be doing a sort of tips video on how to save money as a student. I mean, most of this will apply to just general saving money, getting free stuff, hacks, but like student discounts and stuff obviously only work if you're a student. I'd say when it comes to money I'm pretty good. For the most part I'm quite good at just buying what I need to, finding good deals for the things I want to buy and getting the most for my money. If you'd like a separate video on budgeting and how I do that, then of course I can make that for you, but in this video I'm just going to share some sort of, I wouldn't even call them tips because I mean I think they're pretty obvious things, but a lot of people I've spoken to don't have a clue about them, so I may as well share them. Spread the stinginess a bit and hopefully someone out there can save a bit of money that they didn't even know that they could save. So let's start with the most obvious one, which is student discounts. If you're a student, you're entitled to so many different discounts: high street shops, restaurants, online subscription services. There are three main ways of getting a student discount. The first one is an NUS card, the National Union of Students, a big like union of students, and you can pay, I think it's £10 a year or £30 for 3 years for a little membership card that gives you discounts in New Look, Topshop, hundreds of shops. In the south it gives you 10% off in the Co-op, like the supermarket, which is awesome. You can go on their website and you can see like there's literally hundreds of shops you can get discounts on with that card. The only problem with that is it only works if your university or college is a member of the NUS. My one isn't. I think like there's really high subscription fees, membership fees. There was a vote. My university decided that they weren't going to pay to join it, so the students cannot be members, so we don't get nice discounts, which is such a shame. But you can be a bit sneaky with the NUS card, because I have had one which is only just expired from when I was at college. But if your university isn't an NUS member and you don't have a card left over from college like I did, you can use uni days. Literally anyone who's a student can join. You just have to put in like your university details and your course details, and they'll like check that you're definitely a student. And then if you go through the uni days website and choose the online store that you're shopping at, it generates you a unique code, and then you can put that in like the discount code bit at the end when you're checking out of the shop. You get basically a lot of the same discounts that you get with the NUS card, but through uni days. There's an app as well, so you can show that in a lot of shops. And finally, you can just use your student ID card, the one that your university gives you with your little face that like might get you into the library or anything like that. You can just show that in shops, and like 90% of the time they'll accept that as like a form of student ID that you can get a discount with. It's always worth asking as well in shops if they do a student discount, because there are the obvious ones which everyone knows do a student discount, but then like a lot of sort of local brands, like shops which are just kind of independent and local, will maybe offer a student discount but not advertise it. So like literally wherever you are, whatever you're buying, it's always worth asking. So that's student discounts generally kind of covered. I know Spotify do their subscription at half price for students, which if that's something you're interested in is great. Unfortunately Netflix don't have a student price, and that would be an absolute lifesaver. I wish they did. I've got a list here on my laptop and I don't know which order to talk about things in. I think I'm going to go for student bank accounts next, which is kind of boring but it's a necessity. So yeah, let's talk about that really quickly. I'm sure that every bank does their own version of a student bank account. I think the main feature of all of them, correct me if I'm wrong, is that first of all you can have an overdraft and it's quite big, and secondly there's no interest on overdrafts or no fees on overdraft. A lot of people, their loan doesn't even cover their accommodation costs. Luckily mine does, but a lot of people they're kind of just screwed over and they don't have enough money to live on. So overdrafts are needed. So when you're moving to university, make sure you get yourself a student bank account. A lot of them come with like perks as well. I think Santander and NatWest as well give out a rail card if you get a student account with them, which I'll talk about more in a minute. I went with Santander just because that's who I was with before. This isn't student related, literally anyone with a Santander account can get this, but they do loads of they call it My Offers, and they just always offering percentages off in different shops and on different websites, which is really cool. So you can just log on to your online banking, it will tell you your offers. At the moment I've got 10% off in Waitrose, last week I had 5% off in Sainsbury's, New Look, hundreds of different restaurants, and then there's always a couple of brands that you've never heard of, because obviously the idea is that those brands are encouraging you to go and try them out, and then you know they're going to get some more customers. But it's very useful if a shop that you like to go in all the time pops up, like Sainsbury's last week. There's a Sainsbury's quite near me, so I made the most of that and I was very, very happy. I don't know if any other banks do something similar, but if you're with Santander, you might not know about that. go onto online banking and check it out. It's great, I love it. And one tip for getting a student account is to get it before you go to university or during your first year, because I know a couple of people who, for whatever reason, didn't get their student account set up before they came to university, and now we're all in third year, they're not allowed to open one. I don't know like the ins and outs of it, but obviously that's not ideal. You want to get your student one because it's got more benefits and stuff. So be organised, get on it as soon as possible, because for some reason banks don't like you signing up to them late. Let's move on to travel, because I just mentioned rail cards. It depends obviously what mode of transport you use and whether it's worth investing in things. Personally, I get the train a lot, get the train home, get the train to visit friends. Even if I was just like popping like to the next city, Portsmouth or something, I would get the train. For me, a 16 to 25 rail card is like a literal lifesaver. There are various rail cards you can get. You can get a 2 together one, you can get a family one, disability one, elderly people one, and then there's the 16 to 25 one, which if you're a student is probably the one that you're going to be eligible for. Again, you can buy these either for 1 year or for 3 years, and I believe it's £30 for 1 year, and then you get a discount to something like £80 if you buy the 3-year one. It entitles you to a third of rail fares. I think there are some restrictions, like you can't use it during rush hour. Train travel in general is just ridiculously expensive. Like a lot of the time it's cheaper to fly somewhere than it is to get the train there. Quite often it's cheaper to fly somewhere via somewhere in Europe than it is just to get the train, which is just crazy. It doesn't make any sense. Personally, I think that rail fares should be just so much cheaper, because it will encourage people to stop using cars all the time, get people off the roads, save the planet. And quite often people who are getting trains are people who can't afford their own car, or they're too young to have a car or something like that. So it doesn't make sense to me that it costs like over £100 to get anywhere on a train which isn't a sort of direct route. It's suddenly the price just jumps straight up. I should mention as well that you can link your rail card to your Oyster card, so if you're travelling in London then you get a third off your Oyster fare as well. So all you have to do for that is just talk to someone in a tube station and they'll go up to a machine and do it for you. It's so simple, but for some reason for like the first 2 or 3 years that I had a rail card, I just never bothered to connect it to my Oyster, so I was paying full prices. If you're a student in London, wait, I'm going to double check this because I am not a student in London, but I'm pretty sure you can get a student Oyster card. Let me check. So according to the TfL website, there's something called an 18+ student Oyster Photocard discount. It says you get 30% off the adult rate, travel cards and bus and tram pass season tickets. I mean, if you're in London, you probably know about that already, but if you don't, have a little Google. Again, this next bit isn't specifically student related, it's just being aware of the deals that are available to you. There are so many mobile service providers which give great deals and freebies to their customers. So there's O2 Priority, which I'm sure everybody's heard about. If you're on O2, you can download the O2 Priority app. You get like free Cafe Nero drinks once a week. You get so many different free things on O2 Priority. 3 have just launched a similar app. It's called 12, spelled like, I'll put it on the screen, I'm not going to spell it out. And by the looks of it, that is very similar to O2 Priority. They're always offering percentages off and freebies from certain shops of certain things, and all you have to do is sort of scan your little code on the app. I'm on neither 3 nor O2, so that upsets me greatly. I'm on Vodafone, but I'll tell you something great about Vodafone. On a lot of their packages, you get free entertainment. When I last got a contract, you could choose between Spotify, Now TV or BT Sport. And the contract before that, you could also get Netflix, like just free with your phone contract. So next time your contract renews for Vodafone, definitely ask about that. I don't have a particularly expensive phone contract and I don't have a particularly great phone. Like, it's a good phone, it's an iPhone, but it's an iPhone 5 and I've had it for 3 or 4 years. So if I'm eligible with that phone, then the majority of people are probably eligible as well, which is nice. Going back to student-focused things, I'm going to talk a little bit about a couple of different things that you might be entitled to as a student. First of all, your student loan. I'm pretty sure everybody knows about that. But if you're on the highest student loan, so if your parents are in like the lowest threshold for the amount of money they earn, you might also be entitled to other benefits. So at my university, anybody who's in that lowest threshold also gets a grant from the university. Just, they get paid money, they don't have to pay it back, it's just their money. So check for your university, just go on their website and there'll be like a section under like financial support and bursaries, and there'll be loads on there, not just like financial based ones, but scholarship kinds of things, all sorts. It's definitely worth just spending a bit of time scrolling through that, seeing if there's anything that you could apply for. And also a lot of the time you don't even have to apply for it. They just kind of send you a letter saying, we're giving you this money. If you're a disabled student in any way, so that includes physical disabilities, it includes dyslexia, and it includes mental health problems, apply for a disabled student allowance. I would recommend applying before you go to university and getting it all set up and in place, because it's so much easier that way and you have to jump through a lot less hoops. But even if you are already like partway through your course, still sign up. You just have to get a doctor's note saying that you have whatever disability you're claiming to have. You fill in a form, it's literally like 2 sides of A4. Then you get an assessment, which isn't like checking to see whether you're allowed this. It's more asking what your needs are so that they can give you the best support for you. And then, not to put it crudely, but you get a load of free stuff. When I got it, which was almost 2 years ago now, I was offered a lot of technology stuff. They ask you to pay £200 towards a laptop, and then they kind of pay the extra money to get you one, which is really good quality and is going to last you for the whole of the time you're a student. And also they have to make sure that it runs certain softwares. So you sort of get a free laptop, you get a lot of free software, you get taught how to use it all for free, free printer, free dictaphone, free extension cable. I've touched on this before, so if you're a subscriber you know this, but I just kind of want to clarify for if you've literally just clicked on this video and you don't know who I am and you just want to learn about money saving tips. I wouldn't personally classify myself as disabled in any way. In terms of the government's like list of disabilities, my conditions are on the list, so I'm not going to limit myself and forcefully stop myself from getting stuff that I'm allowed to have just because I don't classify myself as disabled. But I do come under like the umbrella of disability that the government kind of set. If the government didn't think I was entitled to it, they wouldn't be giving it to me. I'm not trying to like be rude, but I know a lot of people get a bit touchy when it comes to people taking disability benefits when they don't look disabled or anything like that. So there you go. Apologies if the camera moved slightly just then. My battery died and I had to change it, and at the moment my tripod has decided not to be a tripod, it just keeps falling over, so I'm balancing you on a box. 2 more things under this category. If you're a student, you don't have to pay council tax. A lot of people don't realise that or don't even think about it, and you just kind of have to send a letter of enrolment or some kind of proof that you're a student at university to your local council. There'll be something on the council's website about doing that. Finally, again, this isn't just for students, but it often applies to students. You can apply for help with health costs, so you can get free prescriptions, free eye tests, just a load of free NHS related things. It's all income based and it's based on your personal income. This is not based on like the assessment of how much your parents earn like it is with student finance. It's really easy to access. If you go online, the form is called an HC1. It's a very long form, I've got to admit. It's about 15 pages long and it's quite complicated. Print it out, just sit down and work your way through it. It's a bit of a faff, but it'll be worth it in the end. And then if you qualify for the help, it's then called an HC2. There are 2 more things I want to talk to you about. They're both kind of like deals and freebies related. So first of all, there's a website called SaveTheStudent.com. They have a newsletter and they have now got a WhatsApp group, and they just send you a list of deals and freebies. I've just gone onto their website to see the deals that they found this week. Like, they aren't giving you deals, they're just finding them and kind of collecting them in one place on their website. At the moment there's £5 off the 16 to 25 rail card, there's free Domino's pizza, that's got an asterisk next to it, so there's probably some kind of catch. You can win loads of stuff, £7 Yankee candles at Asda, half price gift sets at Tesco. So like, there's just loads of good deals, and they're not specifically for students, but they've just kind of found them and put them in one place, and then they send the email out. I think it's once a week. The final thing I'm going to talk about may take a bit of explaining. Me and Juliet, my friend, are kind of obsessed and in love with this app. It's an app which gives you free food. So Shopmium is a free app. It's on the App Store and the Android app store. It gives you a selection of free food and money off food. I just want to say from the beginning, I'm not sponsored. They haven't talked to me in any way and asked me to speak about this. I am just in love with it. The way it works is like through a cashback system. There's a list of products on here which you can get either money off of or just for completely free. You go to the shop, you buy the product, you scan the product and your receipt, and then the app Shopmium either send you the money to PayPal or your bank account. You can choose which one. There's a deadline to request cashback before, but I've used this app a lot and I can promise you it is legit. Like I said, you can either get your money paid to your PayPal or your bank account. There's also it gets a bit more complicated here. When you refer a friend, you get a certain amount of money. At the moment it's £4 per friend, and that friend gets a chocolate bar. The money you get for referring friends, you don't get paid into your bank account, but it kind of stays as your shopmium, kind of like a bank balance. And every time you buy something which isn't free and it's like 50% off or whatever, it takes the money from that money and you can sort of withdraw it then. You're kind of getting it for free, but you're using this money you earn from referring friends. Just to kind of show you that this is a legitimate thing, I've got some stuff here which I've got for free just in the last 2 days, okay? The great thing is they're often like branded things or things I wouldn't usually buy, so it's kind of like a treat. I've got this cooking sauce. It looks very posh. The RRP was like £2, I think, but this was free. Got it yesterday. A bottle of cactus water, free. Yeah, it just kind of tastes like really watered down squash or something, but it's interesting. And usually this would be, I think, something like £1.50. At the moment they've got, oh, excuse me reaching over, naked bars. I think they're on up to 60% off on naked bars. These are vegan. They're like gluten-free, dairy-free, everything free. They've got loads of different flavors. I had a lemon drizzle one the other day, which was really nice, and I've got baked or tart, I've got pecan pie there, and I got those for free because the money came out of like my refer a friend money. Compared to other stuff that's marketed towards vegans and like health conscious people, they're not that expensive, but there's still a lot more money than I would be willing to pay normally. All of that stuff is still on the app at the time of recording, at least, so if you're interested, I would suggest downloading it. Free stuff, discounted stuff, it's amazing. Literally my whole friend group is obsessed. As I said, there's like a refer a friend scheme. When you get referred by a friend, you get free chocolate. So I'm gonna give you my code, but I don't want like £4 times like 50 people. I don't want that because I can only get it through the app, and that just seems kind of selfish. If you sign up to the app with a refer a friend code, then you get a big Lindt chocolate bar, like a proper nice chocolate bar. So it's worth it even just for that. So I'll put my little code on the screen and in the description. And then if you sign up to the app and think, you know, it's worth other people signing up too, if you want to leave your refer a friend code in the comment section, then someone can use that one instead, and then I'm not going to keep getting all the money. I'm not trying to promote this app to get free food, I just think it's good. If you sign up to the app and you like it, leave your refer a friend in the comments, someone else can use it, get their free chocolate bar, you get a free £4, and then we can just keep the chain, either one, we can keep it going. Share the love, share the free food. But there you go. Those are all the tips I have for saving money as a student. Not all of them are specifically for students, so even if you're not at university or college or anything, you can still make the most of them. If there's anything that you think I've missed or any tips that you've got which you've kind of discovered, I would love to hear them if you're willing to share. Please leave them in the comments, and then, you know, more people can get free stuff and scrounge off of people and be a bit stingy. And that's something I encourage a lot. I'm gonna leave this here though, so thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this video helpful and got something out of it. Like maybe if you knew some stuff, you still found something new, that would be great. Remember to give me a like if you did find it helpful, and I will see you very soon. Bye.